Most of us know what gaslighting is. Gaslighting is persistent manipulation and brainwashing over a period of time, where the gaslighter creates these lies and uses redundancy, consistency, and control, and also superficial kindness to keep us playing and to keep us involved. I did a previous video on gaslighting, and you can find the link in the description below. And today I want to talk about gaslighting, but I want to talk about how it works when it's coupled with false hope and how it keeps us in the loop and in that codependent relationship. Welcome back, friends. Good to be back today. And today we're talking about gaslighting and how gaslighting works, but also how it works when it's coupled with the concept of false hope. Because there's got to be that dangling carrot for us to stay in this type of relationship, right? Because more often than not, we're going to be aware of the manipulation at some point. We're going to get overwhelmed with the control, and we're going to want to get out. But when we have that gaslighting coupled with that false hope, there's a tendency of staying in the relationship, being even more codependent in the relationship, and actually buying in to what the person is trying to lie to us about and gaslighting us over. So let's talk about that today. First off, I want to talk about how gaslighting works, and then we'll talk about the false hope. The first thing that takes place when somebody is gaslighting you is that they start this negative commentary, right? They start these lies about you, making you feel bad about who you are, what you stand for, what you've done, right? So the manipulator, the gaslighter, lies about the other person, right? And creates these lies. Let me give you some examples. Hopefully these don't hit home, but I want to give you some of these. The first one would be something like, you're mean, you're horrible. By the way, your friends hate you when you're around. Your friends can't stand you. Your kids can't stand you. People make fun of you behind your back because you're so narcissistic. All of these comments are lies that's created by the gaslighter to make you feel what? To make you feel insecure, to make you feel shame, to make you feel sad, to make you go within yourself to wonder, what's wrong with me? I'm not good enough, and there must be something wrong. And what am I doing where my kids can't stand me? What am I doing that all my friends hate me? Oh my gosh, am I really that big of a narcissist that people are all making fun behind my back? Do you see these comments? Now, in the beginning, when we first hear these comments, they seem kind of crazy. Okay, in the beginning, it's like, where is this coming from? I mean, are you really serious? And as you begin to argue and you all begin to fight over this, what happens though is that over time, they consistently use this card to try to basically whittle down your self-esteem, your self-worth, making you question yourself and doubt yourself to eventually begin to believe the comments and these lies and these manipulations by the gaslighter. The second technique used by the gaslighter is consistency. Consistency is key. Remember, if you want somebody to believe something, you tell them it over and over and over again. Obviously, for you positive people that are out there watching this video, when you're trying to build someone up and help them out, you remind them of a good person they are and the things that they're doing, the things that they're contributing to, and how they're helping society and how they're helping their friends and family. Now, the opposite is true for the gaslighter, right? So they're going to be consistent in telling you what a bad person you are, how horrible you are, the bad parents you are, so those are the consistent keys here. Because if I keep telling you something over time, guess what? You're going to believe it. And what's wilder too is they've even done studies, psychological studies, where people believe negative things about them like more often than they believe the positive things about them. So it actually takes less time to impress on somebody a negative thought than it does a positive thought. Very interesting. So think about that. So the gaslighter is using that to eventually make you believe the lies that they've created about you. The third thing that the gaslighter does is they want to control. They want to control the situation. That's the whole reason behind all of this. But one of the biggest reasons is that the gaslighter is hiding things. Okay, they're probably lying to you. There's probably indiscretions that they don't want to talk about. And so if you bring up something to them and you call them on the carpet on something that they've done or something you think they've done, well, the attack is going to be on. Okay, the full attack. They are going to go after you and they are going to push every single button because they are not going to take responsibility for their actions. They're going to manipulate you to feel even worse about yourself, and they're going to reverse the attack so that you're on the defensive, right? Because if you're on the defensive, they don't have to worry about anything. They don't have to talk about their indiscretions or anything. You're the one that is up for the judge, jury, and executioner. And so they're going to go at you with those lies, and they're going to continue to manipulate you so that they don't have to testify on anything. They don't have to talk about themselves, and they can push the responsibility and blame back on you. The fourth thing that the gaslighter does is that they create the question and the fear of the person that's being abused. Okay, when I talk about abuse in the situation, I talk about mental and emotional abuse, right? When somebody's gaslighting you, that's what they're doing. It is abuse. Okay, so over time, that consistency, the consistency of the lies, right, eventually makes the other person begin to question themselves, worry about how other people see them. They begin to question their identity. They begin to even feel like they've lost their identity, right? Because when you have somebody telling you that you're this person and you're horrible and you're this and that, you're going to eventually believe that, okay? And you've had that consistency and you hear it all the time. It's starting to get there. It's starting to be in your subconscious as well. The gaslighter is almost starting to echo your subconscious at this point, right? And so you start falling into that. And as that happens, more often than not, when we're being abused by somebody else, we can have a tendency of falling into even being more codependent with the abuser, okay? And I know that sounds wacky, but it's the truth, okay? Because there's a lot of things and different dynamics that are going on at the same time. And I'm about to cover the next dynamic because that dynamic, coupled with what's happening, makes the person that's abused very confused. They feel like they're not on solid ground, but also with the feeling of the loss of the identity, they really don't know what's up and what's down. And so the gaslighter is using this manipulation to completely control and manipulate that other person. The next thing that the gaslighter is going to use is moments of care and love. Okay? They might be manufactured moments of care and love, but it makes the abused begin to question. He's not that bad. She's not that bad. He bought me flowers, took me to dinner. She made me a cake. They're not that bad. And you begin to think that over as the person that's being abused begins to question. Because what happens here is that in the middle of all this and all this manipulation, there's moments where you're lucid, there's moments where you're aware that you feel like you're under attack, there's moments where you believe to feel like you're being bullied, but then all of a sudden these moments of care and love show up and make you question things. Because they remind you of them being there for you. They do acts of kindness and service to get you to question and to remind you in a certain way, well, they're not that bad. I mean, they're good. And it gives you that false sense of hope that things are going to get better, that this is okay, that this relationship's all going to work. And it also makes you believe that some of the things that you think are bad about the abuser is not really real, like it's all in your head. So that false sense of hope coming from these moments, whether they're manufactured or not, is what keeps most people in these relationships. You see, it's not all bad. There's crumbs of some sort of care, right? And what happens is we end up clinging to those crumbs and staying in the relationship because we're in a codependent relationship. Probably we're used to, from historical reference, being in relationships with people that abuse us. Okay, and on top of that, the care and the love that we want it so bad that we'll take it in minuscule amounts, even if it's not even real. And in this case, it's manufactured to actually control you more and to be able to manipulate you more so that they can go in for the kill, the mental, emotional kill on the back end of this after they've done the loving and caring for a little while. So basically the goal of gaslighting is to control the other person, right? That's appropriate, I think, in the situation. And that's what the other person is trying to do. So when somebody is insecure, when somebody doubts themselves, when somebody feels like they've lost their identity, what does that mean? That means that that person is easy to control. That means that that person's easily manipulated and easily told what to do. It also means that that person feels like they need to attach to someone else for energy and to try to understand the situation. So a lot of times when we're being abused in those situations, the person that's being abused will cling to the abuser more because they begin to buy into what the abuser is telling them about themselves. Okay, another caveat though is that more often than not, in the beginning of these relationships, the person that is being abused, well, before they're being abused, in the very beginning, tells the person that will become the abuser, that'll be the gaslighter, some really introspective things about themselves, telling them some things that they might not have ever told anybody else, telling them things like dark secrets, things about their past that they don't want anybody knowing. And then that gaslighter is going to prey on them throughout this process to use those things against that person, right? Now remember the other caveat too. Okay, so when somebody creates these lies about us, right? And in the beginning they might seem like lies. The reason why it's so palatable and so easy to eventually go along with is more often than not, we've already thought these negative things about ourselves to some degree. Okay, so it's that negative broken record that I've talked about in multiple videos. That negative broken record that says that we're not good enough, we're not a good enough parent, we're not a good enough kid, we're never going to do this, we're all those negative thoughts, and the gaslighter is preying on the other person and using the worst fears. You see what I'm saying? And so in the beginning, you might have opened yourself up to this person and shared with them some things that they're going to end up using against you. And so I want you to realize that if you're dealing with a situation that you feel like you might be dealing with somebody that's gaslighting you, there's certain things that you can do to step back and be mindful. And I plan on doing another video on how to stop this cycle. But first off, the thing is that we can't be playing into this false hope. Okay, so a lot of times more than not, you begin to see the forest through the trees and you begin to realize that this person is manipulating you, making you feel bad, disconnecting you from friends and family. Because, how do you feel when somebody says that you're a bad parent? Or how do you feel when somebody says that, oh, your parents wishes they never had you, or those types of things, right? And so you begin to disconnect from those people that you feel are talking bad about you based on what the abuser is telling you. But eventually there's some clarity there. But because they bring in that false hope with that kind of manufactured love or care, that's what keeps you in. So if you can be ultra mindful to some degree to be aware of what's happening and to kind of step back emotionally, you can begin to see how some of this is manufactured completely. You can also begin to see one big thing is that never really has the other person ever agreed to doing anything wrong. You've never caught them in anything. And any time that you've ever brought anything up to their attention of something that you feel happened that was wrong, or you feel like they need to discuss or they need to explain themselves, if you really get real with yourself, you'll realize that not once has that ever happened. Anytime that you've ever had question about them, they've turned the question back on you. And so those are things to realize and to really think about. If you feel like you're dealing with the situation and if what I just said resonates with you, then you probably are. And so we're going to do an upcoming video on how to stop that cycle. But first off, this video is dedicated to anybody that feels like they might be in a gaslighting situation, that thinks that they might be manipulated, so you can understand exactly what you're dealing with, no questions. I hope this video has helped you. Please share it with your friends and family. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. And also, if you like this video, give us a like. And in the comment section below, comment, did this video resonate with you? And at what point in the video did you recognize that you have dealt with gaslighting, or you're currently in a situation where a friend, a family member, a spouse, or a lover is gaslighting you? In the meantime, don't forget to live your true life.